Jamaica is blessed with a rich concentration of lush vegetation and cool hangout spots tucked away in the hills. But when last did you spend some quality time in nature? Well, today we have a treat just for you as we take you on a journey to explore some of our tropical gems. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkins, and I do hope you're feeling refreshed after the rains over the past few days. Coming up in today's magazine, I'll show you how these essential raindrops are keeping the island alive. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
It's always beautiful in Jamaica. Everything usually be green and pretty. We have beautiful water. Temperature that is normal temperature. The water never cold. We've been into business for about 13 years. JUSC-COOL. Just Cool. It's spelled with 3 0. We make 3 different types of pudding. We make potato, we make cornmeal, and we make toto. This is the cornmeal, okay? That's actually almost the last process. What he's gonna do now, he's gonna put a gel on top. Within no time, he has to take it off because the gel give it a nice taste. We have the people like Shelley and Fraser came here. We have, you could name the biggest artists, Shabba Ranks, name them all. Being the Man, they all come here and buy their pudding. This is what we grew up on. Now, when the people come to Jamaica, everybody, as soon as they land off the plane, this is where they come. They want to taste this pudding because it's bringing them back to the old days. The long time days when they was kids growing up and they used to sit on the fire and watch their mama or their grandmother bake the pudding. We try not to change off our roots, we try to keep it that way. And not only that, we have a lot of love because we're all about love.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, June 14, 2023. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says steps will be taken to review and strengthen safety and security procedures at public schools. The initial step will be in relation to entry, exit, and pickup of children. The Prime Minister was among the collective voices of parliamentarians on Tuesday, decrying the brutal killing of 8-year-old Daniel Rowe.
I've asked the Minister of Education to immediately direct that the school safety and security policy be reviewed, particularly as it relates to the release of children at the closure of school, or if someone is coming to retrieve the child before school is out. That policy needs to be standardized, and where it may require the implementation of measures which would see cameras being installed or electronic gates or security guards, the ministry must put in place the resources to ensure that these measures can be implemented.
The Prime Minister says the society must not allow crimes like this to become the norm. He insists that pressure from the public can bring a resolution to the case and pleads for persons with information to come forth. Mr. Holness says measures will also be put in place to make it a requirement for public entities, including schools, to have CCTV cameras installed at the entrance and exit of their facilities.
It may also be the case, Madam Speaker, that some other entities that are private entities, that we may have to make a requirement of them, particularly if they have an area where they serve a large number of the public.
In the meantime, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the government is pursuing stiffer penalties for heinous crimes. He says this is being reviewed by a joint select committee of Parliament under the Offences Against the Person Act. Minister Chuck says the committee is facilitating presentation from the public as well as from the police and the Director of Public Prosecutions.
When we look at these bills, we need to carve out a special provision where children have been brutalized and murdered by anyone. And that, Madam Speaker, is something that, as chairman of the Joint Select Committee, we hope to do so in quick order, hopefully before Parliament goes into recess this summer.
Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, says continued investments are being made to attract new recruits to the police force and making it an employer of choice. Dr. Chang was delivering the keynote address at a recent passing out parade for 276 new constables at the National Police College of Jamaica. The minister says the force is attracting some of the best and brightest minds, as was demonstrated at the JCF's recent Transformations Expo. He adds that specialized training programs have been expanded to ensure that there is an adequate number of sub-officers to supervise new recruits.
We have implemented significant changes to ensure that you, graduates, are equipped as modern police officers. These include training and sensitization on gender-based violence, customer service, emotional intelligence, rights-based approaches to policing with the operational skills to effectively combat violence producers and criminals who are heavily armed and brutal.
Work will commence this year on the installation of a new water transmission main from Ferry to Rock Pond in Red Hills. This investment of $1.7 billion will improve service delivery to the area by the National Water Commission, NWC. It is part of the agency's Kingston Metropolitan Area Transmission Mains Replacement and Upgrading Program. Minister with responsibility for water, Senator Matthew Semuda, made the disclosure at last week's commissioning of the Sterling Castle Heights and Padmore pipeline replacement projects. He said the Ferry to Rock Pond main would be the primary feeder line for Red Hills and surrounding communities and would improve water supply to the St. Andrew West rural area.
It will have a water main that runs from the Ferry pipeline to the Rock Pond reservoir. It will interconnect to the Ferry pipeline. It will design and upgrade the raw water pipeline from Head Pond down to Greenhouse Chamber Inlet that supplies the Constant Spring Water Treatment Plant. It will design a 500 millimeter diameter portable water main along the North Coastal Highway from the vicinity of Grand Bahia Principe.
And finally, the Ministry of Sport is now moving to acquire architectural designs for the redevelopment of the National Stadium, marking a significant step in the project. Portfolio Minister Olivia Grange made the announcement during her contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament yesterday. She says the Ministry of Finance and the Public Investment Management Committee have now approved her ministry's submission for the project and given instructions for detailed designs to be done for the proposed works. The Sport Ministry has also been directed to coordinate the planning of the National Stadium development with the activities of the National Water Commission and the National Works Agency. The project will also include the establishment of the National Sports Museum adjacent to the Bob Marley statue. The ministry has set a timeline of 12 months to report back to the Public Investment Management Committee and the Minister of Finance with all that is required to take the project to the next stage of approval. Minister Grange says much preparatory work still needs to be done and there is an estimated period of 36 months for the completion of the construction.
We will, Madam Speaker, realize our ambition of a modern, state-of-the-art national stadium and sports museum and velodrome.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Tyne has named the island Jamaica, which means land of wood and water. Our rivers provide our water supply and preserve the natural beauty of the island. In this next feature, we take you through the conservation plans in place to protect our natural water sources. Take a look.
Jamaica, the land of wood and water. Preserving the rich history of our island's natural bounty is centered on the core ideal of sustainability. So, with every precious drop of rainfall harvested into the beautiful canopy of the island, increasing the urgency to safeguard our water sources is everyone's responsibility. An area of land that allows for the drainage of rainwater into a common place like a pond or river is known as a watershed. Now, you may live near a river or drink the water from a bottle, but how much do you know about watersheds and their life-giving role? There are over 100 rivers making up Jamaica's watersheds. These rivers are critical resources to the ecosystem of the land, while empowering our economy. The National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA manages Jamaica's 26 watershed management units WMUs in partnership with key governmental agencies such as the Rural Agricultural Development Authority RADA, the Forestry Department, the Water Resources Authority and other partners. There is one major factor to note in the protection of watersheds, and it's the delicate balance of the communities who earn a living from these areas through agriculture.
So we try to take a bottom-up approach to watershed management. Now that will involve liaising with the communities, getting their inputs prior to going into any given watershed with any intervention. You have to do what we consider to be an assessment of the needs of the community, separate and apart from an assessment of the needs of the watershed prior to going in and doing our interventions.
This approach forms part of the integrated watershed and coastal area management model, which takes into consideration the community's views. Under the Watersheds Protection Act of 1963, watershed areas are declared and regulated to conserve the water resources, while allowing residents to gain from popular land economic activities such as farming.
You do have complementary acts that would speak to watershed management. So you have, for example, the RADA Act of 1990 that will allow for extension, the use of extension services, which translate into watershed management as the use of sustainable land management practices with the farmers.
There are 7 other pieces of legislation that support the Major Watersheds Protection Act. Finding the balance between benefiting from the resources in watersheds and preventing its degradation is continuous work by the environmental authorities. In 2015, a $3.9 million Yalas Hope Watershed Restoration Project was launched as a joint initiative between the government and the Inter-American Development Bank (IDB. The Yalas and Hope River watershed supply 40% of the drinking water in the densely populated urban parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew.
We would have trained under that project over 5,000 farmers in sustainable land management. And then we would have also did quite a number of studies. We would have done some replanting in the area. We would have replanted over 500 hectares.
A major initiative from the Yalas Hope River Restoration Project was the use of a Payment for Ecosystem Services scheme, designed to give an incentive to farmers who rely less on the watersheds.
At the end of that project, we would have, through modeling, showed that we have seen a reduction in about 8% of sediments coming down out of that watershed, and that's a conservative estimate. It goes up to 17% when you factor in the interventions that were done by our partners in these watersheds.
NEPA also established a Yalas and Hope River Watershed Management Committee to ensure that these results continue. Jamaica's international ranking as a strong and actions-based drive of environmental protection is steadily growing. A Jamaican Path from Hills to Ocean project is the latest initiative to restore 3 major watersheds across the island in the next 5 years. The $1.05 billion Jamaican dollar project is a joint partnership between the government and the European Union, executed by the Planning Institute of Jamaica in support of NEPA and RADA.
So the rapid ecological assessment is expected to inform some of the project activities that will help with the RADA-led components in identifying some areas that will be prioritized for intervention, and those priority will be for trainings for farmers and other techniques that would help with the overall watershed management. The Castleton Botanical Garden is one particular location within one of the watershed management units that would benefit mostly from some of these activities.
Work will also be done on 2 wetland ecosystems, Winds Morass in Trelawney and the Mason River Protected Area on the border of St. Ann and Clarendon.
And those activities would help with the overall preservation and conservation of those 2 wetland areas to stem or kind of address some of the challenges we are currently facing with issues of encroachment or solid waste deposits, and also the general sensitization through the use of signage and public education.
The project will also flow into the protection of Jamaica's marine life.
So the assessment of seagrass, the health and distribution of seagrass beds within the Ocherius Marine Park and the Helsha, Half Moon Bay area will also be assessed, so we can see if the activities implemented over the 5-year period would have helped with the health or the general health of the marine environment in these areas.
Don't waste water. Turn on your tap at half blast. Plant a tree, the more the better. Do not litter. Proper waste disposal prevents your garbage from getting into our rivers and streams. Be environmentally friendly. Get involved and help protect the earth. The work to protect our watersheds aligns with Jamaica's signatory to the Paris Agreement on Climate Change to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Equivalently, our Vision 2030 national plan also prioritizes balancing sustainable use of the environment and reducing poverty. Through climate-smart steps to better use the lands and the hills of our watersheds and reduce the degradation of our coastlines, the value of protecting Jamaica's watersheds today will pay the price for securing the future of the island.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
Rainfall is vital for all watersheds and keeping our public gardens refreshed. The rain has been blessing these green spaces recently, making them even more attractive. So journey with me through 2 of our public gardens you may want to check out this summer.
We're here in St. Thomas at one of the oldest botanical gardens in the Western Hemisphere, the Bath Botanical Gardens. This is the beginning of a journey to discover the scientific, cultural and historical value of public gardens. Come now, let's explore these national and natural treasures. So what differentiates a public garden from a regular place where flowers and trees grow?
A public garden is an institution where plants are collected for the purpose of education, research, conservation, and recreation.
Along with Bath, there are 3 other public gardens on the island. Castleton in St. Mary and Hope and Sincona Gardens, both in St. Andrew. The public can access these venues at no cost. Today, we'll be exploring Bath and Castleton. Except for Hope Gardens, the Public Gardens Division of the Ministry of Agriculture, Commerce, Industry and Fisheries, MICAF, preserves and maintains these natural beauties.
The objective then of the public garden is to conserve the biodiversity of plant life in the island. So we are here to ensure that the plants are maintained, they are conserved, they are preserved, that research is conducted on them so that generations and generations will have that area.
Bath Botanical Garden was the first public garden established on the island. As a research site, imported plants were introduced here to assess how they would adapt to the tropical environment.
Food that Jamaicans love, like breadfruit, was first introduced to this garden by Captain Bly. He came here with the breadfruit the Aki and OTT apple. Those are the famous ones. Other plants were introduced to the garden that people see all the time, the bougainvilleas, the crotons, all of these were first introduced to the gardens.
Constant flooding from the nearby sulfuric spring destroyed many of the plants and led to a decline of the garden. Though nowhere near its former glory, the space still provides the opportunity for persons to come and enjoy nature's bounty.
Bath is a beautiful garden. It's one of the gardens that has the atmosphere that you come in here. It's a cool, calming environment that I would encourage anybody to come. If you want to study, you can come here and study. If you want to just come out with your church group, want to come out with any little grouping, or even yourself and a friend can come and walk and learn about the different plants that are in the garden.
Bath's fall saw the rise of this location as the premier growing spot for exotic plants in Jamaica.
The garden you're visiting is Castleton Botanical Garden. It was owned by a man called Colonel Castle. Colonel Castle traveled all over the country and bring plants from different countries and plant here. So when he get old, he donated to the government of Jamaica. The government finished cultivate it and give it his name, Castleton Botanical Garden.
Growing here are many of the plants introduced on the island in the 19th and 20th century. These include poinciana, Bombay mango, navel orange, and tangerine.
One time it had over 400 palms. I think we're down to 180 species. So you have an area dedicated to the various palms that were introduced into the gardens. We also have rare fruits like mangosteen, and they have another one, the real velvet apple, that you wouldn't find anywhere else.
This is the Phoenix palm. When you knock it like this with a stone, it gives you sound. Why it gave you that sound? Because it's hollow inside. The more it grows old, the more it expands hollow.
Educational tours are just some of the offerings here at Castleton. But you can stop by for a swim if that's your thing. Perhaps a cookout is more your flavor. Or set up a spot on the lawn and bask in the glory of the great outdoors. Our expedition of the historic Bath and diverse Castleton Gardens ends here. Syncona and hope await, but in another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Until then, keep looking out.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Your government is empowering you through education, training, and development. That is why we have removed all fees for every Jamaican accessing training through the Heart NSTA Trust. So, whatever you desire training in, food and hospitality, beauty and cosmetology, housekeeping and hotel management, welding, carpentry, masonry, or any of the dozens of programs Heart offers, you can enroll completely free and change your life. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Speaking of summer plans, how about preparing to visit another country? Well, we want to help you get ready with information on how you can get your Jamaican passport. It's a must when traveling internationally.
It's among the world's most powerful books. It grants you access to over 50 international territories without a visa. I'm sure by now you realize I'm speaking of a Jamaican passport. Here's how you can acquire this trusted identification and travel document. The Passport Immigration and Citizenship Agency (PICA) is the government entity responsible for issuing this identification and citizenship document. First, you must obtain and complete a passport application form. The form is available at PICA offices on their website or any police headquarter island-wide. First-time adult applicants are required to appear in person with their completed application form and 2 identical photographs, one of which must be certified by the person who verified the application form. The photos must be taken within the last 6 months for it to be valid. Additional documents are a birth, adoption, or Jamaican citizenship certificate, as well as a valid government-issued photo identification, such as a driver's license or a voter's ID, and a proof of name change if the name has been altered. For renewals, adult applicants may apply online or in person by submitting a simplified renewal form along with the expired passport. A Dropbox service is also available at PICA's headquarters at 25 Constant Spring Road in Kingston. Applications submitted using the Dropbox service will take 7 working days to process. Applicants living overseas must visit pica.gov.jm to start the renewal process. They will need their expired passport, passport-sized photograph for upload, Visa or MasterCard, debit or credit card to make payment, and an email address to get updates on the application. Applicants who are under 18 years old must appear in person and present a certificate of citizenship, 2 identical photographs with one being certified, the parent or legal guardian's government-issued identification, and sections C and E of the application completed by the parent or guardian. The same procedure applies for passport renewals for minors. Passport processing fees will vary depending on the service chosen or the location where the application was submitted. A regular adult passport costs 6,500 Jamaican dollars locally, $80 if in America, or £50 in the United Kingdom. PICA's Kingston location processes applications in 7 working days. Montego Bay, Portmore and Maypen does so in 14 days, while overseas applications take 20 working days. Expedited services are also available for local applications. Once the passport is ready, applicants must bring the official receipt with a valid ID and pick up at the location they submitted their application. The person collecting on an applicant's behalf must have a written consent form, a copy of the applicant's ID, and the official receipt. Courier services are available at PICA's Kingston location. It's the gateway to travel and so much more. Getting a passport is your legal right as a Jamaican citizen.
We are in a race against time, to reverse the effects of climate change by one simple action which has positive and enduring effects. That's right, plant a tree, leave a lasting legacy. Join the My Tree Legacy promotion by planting a tree at your alma mater and share your work with us. Every tree counts. Plant a tree today and keep climate change away.
Plant a tree today. Remember to do your part to keep Jamaica's tropical bliss alive and fight against the impact of climate change. Be sure to find more enriching content like this on our website, jis.gov.jm. Also, don't forget, we would love to hear from you. Send us your feedback on today's show to our email, jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire team at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.